Hey, I'm Katie, and this is Living in the Now. On my channel, I talk about everyday manifesting, stories and examples to help you to manifest everything you desire. Today, I'm just going to answer some of my own questions that I used to have before I knew more about manifesting and understood it. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, comment below. And please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. So let's see. A lot of people say that you can't say I want. They say, I want. That doesn't work. Because it implies lack. And so every time that I had manifested, then I said, I want, and the thing I want, and then it did happen, and it worked. So I was always confused why all these other people kept saying, you're not supposed to say I want. And you shouldn't say I want. You should say like I have, or just that it's not going to work then, or it implies lack, right? So that always confused me, but now I know that I can say I want. Why? Because you can make up whatever rules you want for your own life. I can say that I manifest that way and then it can work for me because my own thoughts create. And the more that you keep thinking a thought, it ends up becoming true for you. The second reason is because it's not the words itself, but it's what's happening behind the words that's actually like manifesting and creating the internal feeling of either having it or not having it. So when I personally say I want and the thing I want, I then see myself as having it. So it works. But sometimes people would say I want, and while they did, they would picture not having it, so it wouldn't work. So it's all really behind the scenes and behind the words of either you say and feel and think I have it and I will have it, or I don't have it and I won't have it. And that's the number one thing that manifests it or not. So if I were to say, I want money now. I want money to come to me and find me exactly where I am now. As I say that, I see like myself with money. I feel I have money. I feel the having of money. I see it in my hand, in my bank account. I feel wealthy, like I can buy stuff. Now if I were to say that and see no money in my hand, see the lack of money, then yeah, it won't work. So it's really what's happening behind the words. So you can use any type of words that works best for you, that makes you feel, and that implies that you will have it, and that it will happen. No matter what the desire is, you want to do the 3 steps to manifesting. 1, decide what you want. 2, say what you want. And the best way to say what you want is with the dominant thought that says, I say what I want, it happens. I always get what I want. I want, and the thing you want. And then number 3 is to feel like you have it or will have it, the having of it, being completely convinced of it, living and remaining in that internal state of being of having it, convinced that you will have it and that it will happen. And then days later or maybe a week later, then you still want to remain in the feeling internally that you have it or will have it, like an expectant type state of being. So when negative thoughts about it come up, then what you would do is deflect and dissolve those thoughts by saying, I don't have to think about that right now, or no matter what, I always get what I want. Either of those have been working for me to deflect the negative thoughts and keep my manifestation going on track, aligned, and then it happens a lot faster. Alright, what was my second question? How about, why does something I don't really care about and don't really want that much manifest like almost instantly, like the same day or the next day, but things that I really, really want and have thought about and have tried for and have deeply wanted, like a relationship or money, why hasn't that manifested, but the other thing did so easily? Okay? So if we look at that, then most likely you just don't have very many bad thoughts about the thing that manifested instantly. You probably don't have a lot of built up thoughts that are like built up from all the years of it. If you think about a relationship or money, you have like all this programming inside you, like however you grew up, like money's easy to get, money's hard to get. Relationships, this always happens to me in a relationship, or I expect this to happen to me in a relationship. You have all these built up thoughts that then had results and had things happen to you. And you saw the evidence of it then, so you believed it even more. So now when you think about a relationship, what do you think is going to happen? Do you expect that they're going to be a certain way? Do you always meet the same type of people? Do you always have the same situation happen? Do you just feel like you can't find someone? So those type of thoughts are negative about your desire, and they imply deep down that you won't have it and that it won't happen. And to manifest a relationship, you have to feel that you will have it and it will happen, and convinced of it. So most likely you are not convinced of it. So there's different ways that you can convince yourself of it. Making that new thought, having a new dominant thought. You can also use a wanted story. I have a video specifically about that. It's like short sentences about your desire that make you feel like you will have it, that it will happen, and convinced of it. So that can help you to stay on track and stay focused on it. Or you can also convince yourself by realizing that circumstances don't matter, and I have a video about that. So the how, when, and where doesn't have to matter. Just a focus on the desire itself. And then the world around you will find a way to give it to you. It doesn't sound like that's actually going to happen or true, but once you actually see it firsthand, then you can start to see that it's true, and then apply it to any and all other desires. For example, I was like, a girlfriend can't just come to my door, can't just come to me and find me without me doing anything but changing my thoughts. But that did manifest. Or I can't just be given free money for no reason, doing absolutely nothing but changing my thoughts. But that also worked and was proven that it can work. So those were definitely things that stood out and showed me that you can have things and things can happen and show up and be given to you just from changing your thoughts. Even when there's like no options, no way, looks like it's even possible. Like even for a relationship, like you see no one around, there's no options, no possibilities, one can just show up. Like one person I dated just moved to the area, and then we met. But the how, when, where, and why actually isn't up to you. It doesn't have to matter. You just have to focus on the desire itself, having it, and remain in the internal state of being of having it. So remaining in that is like kind of like the next day comes. You're not really like trying, searching, frantic, desperate, need it. That type of energy. You're just more calm, content. Like imagine a package in the mail, like it's coming. You feel good about it. You know what you chose, so you know what's gonna come up and show up. You don't know about the whole, like, how it gets to you, really. Like, you don't know all those details, and they don't really matter. It's just the end result that you want to focus on. How about the question, some people are into law of assumption. Some are into law of attraction and manifesting. So, are they the same, and are they different? Some might ask that. And I like to think they're all the same. They really are all the same. They're just being explained differently. But it all comes down to the 3 steps. Why do they say assumptions manifest? Because assumption is what you assume or think is going to happen and that you will have. So if you always get canceled on, like your plans, then you probably assume that the next person's going to cancel on you, and so your assumption most likely manifests. Or if you're wealthy and you're really good with money, you just assume that money's going to keep coming to you and you're going to keep having money. Or even if you lost money or something happened to your money, you still assume that you will have it and that a way will be made, for you to have more again. And so your assumptions manifest. But what does that really mean? It just means you feel that you have it and that it will happen. And if you look at any manifesting technique, scripting, visualizing, writing a list, what else do they do? Vision board, 5 times 55, living in the end, feeling the feeling of the wish fulfilled. All the things, like the goal is to feel that you have it and will have it every time. So it's always back to those main things. Here's another question. What if I'm angry a lot and like mad and just upset and depressed all day? Like, does that mean that angry, upset stuff is going to happen to me? Right? And so it's just if you think that it will happen and that you will have it, that it would then happen. Like, for example, if you watch like a scary, disturbing movie or something, like, it's just, you know that you're just watching it for the entertainment of it, but if you actually feel like, oh, I'm gonna have that now, and it's gonna happen, then, like, if your thought is extremely dominant in that, then it might happen, but most likely you just know, I'm just watching this for entertainment. So you don't actually feel like it's gonna happen to you and that you'll have it. So that's the difference of that. And you can also just be a human and, you have up and down emotions, you have a good day, a bad day, but it's still that you can have the thought on the desire itself that either you'll have it and it will happen or you don't. So, for example, if I wanted a new truck or something, okay, I want a new car. And if I'm having a bad day and everything, I can still manifest a new car. It can still happen. Because I don't feel bad about the desire for the car itself. And I still feel like I'll have it and that'll happen even if I'm having a bad day. So it still works and manifests. So yes, you can still manifest even if you're having a bad day. It is true, though, that the more that you enhance your mood and get your mood up and start listening to or watching some manifesting videos and reading about it and kind of getting your mind back into the hopeful state of being and like that things are possible, that then it starts to work faster and be easier. So I have noticed that. Like, if you're truly really upset and you're having a lot of anger or a relationship ended or something, I would recommend EFT tapping, it's called, with Brad Yates on YouTube. You just tap on the specific parts of your body and it sort of releases all of your emotions. And it's kind of like you let it go, you let it out, you got angry, and then I would most likely listen to YouTube videos about manifesting, maybe take a course, and then it starts to enhance my mood more and more if I was ever depressed or if I ever had a bad situation with money or a relationship. So that's how I started to get my mood and start to feel better again and start to be lifted more so that my manifestations can happen faster and easier. I did always notice, when I was so happy and so in love, oh my god, I had manifestation after manifestation, it was just everywhere. Synchronicities, signs, it was just happened so easily. It totally felt like I was in a dream. People seemed dreamlike, and the way it happened so fast and just the way they reacted and talked to me and looked at me, it felt like I was actually living in a dream. So I'd say once you get to higher states of being, it literally feels like you're in a dream. It's kind of slowed down of a dream, but where things shift and change and happen and show up so quick, so instant, so fast, in very odd ways, you just be given something or led right to something. So it's definitely amazing to be in higher states of being. You feel like you're just walking around in a dream. Alright, so here's a good question. Why do I keep getting unwanted repeated patterns? Yes, why? Because you think that it'll happen and that you'll have it. It always comes back down to that. If I start dating someone again, even though I wrote down everything that I wanted in them, I would still see the same patterns. Why? Because then I would react to it. Okay, so I meet a new person and have the same thing about them or the same pattern, and then I get upset at it, and then it happens again, and then it happens again, and it happens again. So most likely I'm just assuming that it'll happen and that I'll have it. So to break that pattern, I really have to stay consistent in my new wanted story and my new thoughts about it, and use those thoughts that deflect it. I have to think about this right now, and I always get what I want. And I can also add in there that every moment's new and circumstances don't matter and the past doesn't matter. And even though that happened in the past, it's not going to happen anymore because I say what I want and it happens. And I want this new thing to happen now. So that's other ways you can deflect that, change that, not have that pattern repeated anymore. I think first observing and noticing the pattern is number one. And then number two, making a wanted story about it and about the negative thoughts. And number three is really just staying consistent. and not getting drawn back into those negative thoughts and negative stories, because then you keep thinking about the past things that happen. So another question, can a person really change? Like, can I change people in my reality around me? Like, can they become different or better or a different version? And the answer is yes. If you think that it can happen and you can have it and that they can change and that they can shift and change, then it can happen for you. So there's millions and there's unlimited parallel realities. And so you could choose the reality that you could choose the version of the person that you want. So let's say you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and maybe they're not so affectionate. I can make a wanted story about it and how they're affectionate, see them that way, feel that they will be that way, and then a parallel version of them is then chosen, and then they start to act out and be that way. And have I seen this happen before? Yes, I have. I've seen it happen so much that it actually felt like I was dating two different people, because my thoughts were so mixed, like, oh, they're always like this, or oh, now they're really loving and they're really kind, and they would literally go back and forth between the two, and it felt like I was dating more than one person in one. Or you could also change, like, a girl smoked, and I didn't want a girlfriend that smoked, so I said my wanted story about it, and she thought it was her own idea to quit smoking, and then she stopped and did. And I have a video about that, too. So even people and things that have been around a while and that you think can change and shift actually can. The world is more changeable and can shift and change than you think it is. It's not quite as solid as you may imagine and think that it is. That's also why you can, like, choose a new parallel version of you. Like, you can say, I'm really good at manifesting. Manifesting's easy for me. Manifesting, I understand everything about it completely. I did that, and then all the information about it made 10 times more sense. And it was very clear to me. And it all came together, or I was led to the right videos. So you can even make a wanted story about yourself. How people see you, how people react to you, how you want to be seen, how you want to be. So what's an example of a wanted story? Wanted story, short paragraphs describing what you want. So if I want to be seen as confident and beautiful, then I would say, I say what I want, it happens. I always get what I want. I want to be seen as beautiful and confident now. So those are some manifesting questions that I always used to have, and I hope the answers have helped you out. If you have any manifesting questions, comment below. That's my video for today. Thanks for watching.